Hello, I'm Rebecca of the Garden Gate Flower Company.
And I'm Grace of Grace Alexander Flowers.
And we've come together to create Stuart and Alexander Gather at the Garden Gate.
A podcast taking you behind the scenes of two gardens, what we've been up to, inside, outside, and out and about. I have to say, I love language. I love words. When I did my degree, I did a module in linguistics, and I love words. So that's
I'm more
why
fascinated.
I write.
Yeah. I'm certainly, having started this podcast, way more aware of language. Spoken, ad-lib, scripted. Like you said, you can suddenly, you're just in your eye. Yeah, you're zoned into it. That's what I'm trying to say.
The biggest head what's it in the world was having sat here for 3 hours editing podcasts and hearing your voice and my voice just literally because I was concentrating really hard, like so intensely, and then you ringing me, and I was like, my brain was I just didn't know what to do. Do I edit you? Like, do I mute that bit? Like, are we talking over each other, or am I just oh my god, like my head was just like, I don't know what to do with this.
I won't call you anymore. It's too much for you. Or I'll send you a warning first. I'm calling it's the live Becca offline. You can swear. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So tell me, what have you been doing inside?
What have I been doing inside?
I feel like you need to start off, given that my last one seemed like I spoke quite a lot.
I think our ins very often coincide, and that means that we co-create something that ends up. I think we're very in sync with each other. What with being so seasonal and being very similar. My in at the moment is spring cleaning. I'm going to say the most middle class thing ever, which is that my cleaning lady has retired. She was a treasure. She was a true treasure. Now, I am not the most... I'm very efficient. I get a lot done in my life, but I'm not particularly tidy. And that's not something I care a huge amount about. So very often my life is complete chaos. And then I have 3 dogs, all of whom are long-haired and need to be walked a lot. There is grit everywhere. Dog hair everywhere. Clutter. I run a business. All that sort of stuff everywhere. I cannot find another cleaning lady who will ever put up with us. So I'm now, I see, getting the house in some sort of semblance of civilization. And I'm feeling the spring sap rising, actually. Yeah,
I mean, it is, you now saying that we are very in sync. It is hilarious. I have been doing something similar. Mine's been a little bit more grim, though. Moths.
Oh.
Moths. I don't know what it is. We have an attic bedroom, and old furniture equals moths. Yeah, you talking about spring cleaning. That was one of my tasks, was getting the good old lavender water out and spraying that around. And actually that did feel very like I've reached my peak of my age. Like I've joined my age now because I'm using lavender water to get rid of the moths. It's hilarious. I keep it sounds sorry, but I keep all my wools in plastic bags as well. I don't know whether this is a thing that everyone has to do, but yeah, if I leave anything wool out, it will just get decimated in our house. Do you put them in the
freezer? Is that a thing for? Is that for something else? I can't.
Yeah, it is for moths, but I don't let it get to that point in the first place. I just have Ziploc bags for all my wools, cashmeres, things like that. So they all go in there. So on that kind of tidy thing, I actually feel like I'm quite messy as well. And we did have a cleaner, and we don't have one now. And yeah, we have the same: the dogs, the rugby, the football, the garden, the mess. So
cobwebs, that just
big spiders at the moment. There's some serious spider action going on. Yeah, so I have to say my in is pretty boring. I've been inside doing quite a bit of admin. I've been bringing in things like the tulips to rescue from the serious deluge of rain that we've had again, and the last of the daffodils. We've gone over.
My Actea has just started. I don't have enough of them. They've diminished over years, which is a shame because it's my favourite. But have you had the storm then?
We've had... do you know what? I didn't want to come on here because this must be podcast number 5. And I feel like I have literally moaned about the weather in every single podcast. I thought, I cannot do this again. But for the love of God, literally, this is another week, yes, of another storm.
So I saw a picture on Instagram this morning of, and I honestly couldn't tell you whose it was, but a flower farmer had put a picture of their coral charm peonies.
Peonies, I saw it.
Gone.
Yeah, gone.
Oh,
and
my
I do.
heart.
I know, and I saw the same one, and I sent my heart out to that lady. I can't think of her Instagram handle now either, but I thought it was really, really sad. And what I will say is, I'm with you, because and I'm going to swiftly move on to my out to make anyone that is growing flowers outside feel better. My roses have been rocked really badly by the wind, so the site is quite exposed. And I think I'll be right in saying that last week, because I've literally lost count of the storms we've had and the directions they've come, but I think last week's came from one direction and this week's come from another. And I popped up to the land, have to go up about every other day to check on it, and I could put my fist in the hole that has been created by the wind rock on the roses. That's how bad it is. Yeah. So interestingly as well, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, the soil has dried actually quite quickly in that wind. With no rain and that wind, we've had it dry really quickly. Cracked already. Can you believe it? Honestly, cracked already. I felt pretty disheartened. I had a very, very flat day on Monday. I felt really sad for myself. I put up another windbreak, and really there's only, in a field, and I think like that lady with the peonies, there's only so much you can do. This is freakish weather we're having, but probably weather we're going to have to get used to.
Are they newly planted roses?
Yes. So that's what... So that's what I will say is mine were transplanted. So the new ones, which were bare root, brand new stock, they don't seem to be so bad. The smaller roses have coped. And this is an interesting thing, isn't it? And a good tip for anyone buying anything. Don't buy... I know it's tempting to buy the bigger pot, which I know is more expensive, but actually it's better to buy the smaller plant and let it grow on. Because what I've done is I've moved... I'd say they're about 4-year-old, no, maybe not 3-year-old roses, but they were in the tunnel, so they're really substantial. They're quite a bit bigger than they would have been if they'd been outside. And I've moved them and planted them, and they're the ones that haven't coped because they're a big rootstock and they're bigger, so they just haven't anchored in. That's the problem. Yeah.
And tunnel grown ones, they have that real fleshy sort of bulk to them very often.
Yeah.
And they're not as
advantage. These were actually really stocky tunnel grown plants, and I cut them right back, so the actual growth on them is only the new growth from this year, but it's the anchoring, it's the fact that they haven't really had time, I don't think, to put those roots down and in and anchor themselves in. I think if you think about it, we've had bad weather since October, and that's pretty much when they got moved. So they've been battered from day one. I think I had something on the news saying we've had 11 storms. Have we had 11 storms? And I can actually believe it.
Yeah. Although these last few days have been so blissfully, gorgeously blue sky, and then you just think, oh, it's so wonderful. Going back to spring cleaning thing, I just feel completely rejuvenated by the weather. I just feel such an uplift after all of that mud and just awfulness. I feel like the sunshine's back. The air smells different now. I don't know, I think we've got horse chestnuts here, and they always have this amazing smell when their candles come out, which is just feels like spring to me has arrived. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Yeah.
And the dog walk's drier, isn't it, actually, talking about that?
Oh, my dog walk is covered in sheep and lambs at the moment, so we're...
Oh, I saw that on your Instagram. That's so cute.
It's very cute, but it just means that no one's allowed to go anywhere very exciting for a while.
Stay on a lead.
Yeah. Do you know what, though? Mine don't mind. They would sleep all day if you let them. I was in a meeting online this morning, and suddenly everyone started laughing, and I was the only person who wasn't there in person, and I did that sort of like, oh gosh, I feel a bit awkward. Something clearly happened. Anyway, it turned out Hugo was just over my shoulder and was doing a bit of an ear stretch and looking all terribly cute, and I was just like, I really thought I'd cropped out that side of the room, but it turns out I hadn't.
Sweet, I love it. What have you been doing out then? What's your...
Well, I think we're on themes of structures and supports, but I'm all in at the moment on my sweet pea teepees. which I hoped I was going to get done at the weekend and absolutely didn't. So I've got tomorrow blocked out to finish it. But lots and lots of mild steel rods, lots and lots of netting.
You spoke about this, yeah. You're making the rods yourself. I can't. Are you going to share this on Instagram?
When I get it right. So I did a video last weekend and I was all smug and I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I put this here and I'm just going to push this in, and they look a state. So I use 0.6 mild steel rods, which means I can just bend it with my hands basically, but I haven't done a great job in bending it evenly. So all my big hoops are super wonky, and I embrace wonky, don't get me right.
Yeah.
But they look dreadful. So I'm going to have to take them down and go to Screwfix and buy a pipe bender and then do really even curves and then make sure I put the feet in the ground, the right angles of the circle, and then they'll look amazing. So we're nearly there.
It's quite a good process though. So that's to create the support around those uprises. This is what you mean when you're saying the circle, the pipe.
So I'm doing, you know, like a hazel dome. Imagine a hazel dome, but imagine strongest uprights are made of mild steel. Feet in however many degrees apart, because otherwise they're just a bit wonky. And then they're all in these very tall loops. And so I just need to get them all lined up so I can tie a piece of string around the centre where they all cross, and then suddenly I've got this perfect, like an obelisk, but round topped.
So have you done this before? Is this a new thing you've decided to embrace?
Used a lot of mild steel in my time, so I make lots of wreaths out of them, and I make lots of gateways and arches and all sorts of them, but I don't know that I've done quite like this for sweet peas. But the honest answer is, the reason I'm doing it is because I used every scrap of hazel that I could grow in my beautiful hazel fence. And so I have not a twig left. Yeah.
Actually, I was quite surprised because I did my support for my autumn sweet peas with hazel, and I opposite it at a friend's house, and I thought, God, this is loads, because she had this lovely hedge, and she very kindly said, take as much as you like. So obviously don't ever say that to a gardener. I was literally... I almost felt quite embarrassed as I was bundling it into the van, thinking, I'm not sure she meant this much. And also, they were really long as well. They went right the way through a transit, and they went right the way through to the front seat. But I was really surprised how much you needed. When I then put it in the raised bed at home, and actually then so I've created a bit of in the raised bed, just a very traditional sort of cross arch, but then braced it, obviously, so woven it a little bit to make sure it doesn't move from left to right. I used the whole lot, and I was thinking I was going to have enough for a few pots. Nowhere near. So I was like, actually, yeah, you can go through quite a lot of hazel in these supports.
And I've been on a lot of hazel weaving courses and willow weaving courses and things, and I would say that the hardest thing about any of that is sourcing enough material. It's getting enough hazel in the first place to do anything meaningful.
That's really interesting, isn't it? So you can't just rely, you have to get... And how long... Because I'm new to this, because I've always wanted to do it, but then, like you said, never had the resources. We didn't have it. It was one thing that actually we didn't have on the farm, so we never used it. We planted a load of willow, but you don't want to... It's a bit of a nightmare, as we know, unless you've stopped it from sprouting. But how long do I reckon the hazel will last then?
I would say 2.5 to 3 years. Very often the bit that goes with hazel is where it goes into the ground because it rots there. So sometimes what I've done is I've got fresh hazel, gone to where it's starting to go at the base, put more hazel into the ground, and then lashed it to the original arch or support.
Oh, I see.
Even if you get that bit right, after 3 years it goes really brittle. And then once it's brittle, bits just keep falling off it, and nobody wants their sweet peas to hit the deck at a crucial moment.
But then actually, in my situation, if I took the whole thing down and started again next year, one could store it dry.
Yes. So Christy Ramage, it's name checked more than anyone else on this podcast, she pulls them out of the ground and stores them indoors in a shed. I don't have the space to do that, so everything stays outside here. But yeah, that would prolong its lifespan, certainly.
That'd be quite good, because given how tall these are, they're not going to grow back that fast. And I do feel a bit bad going back to my lovely friend going, by the way, I want another load next year as well. So yeah, that's good. That's good to know. But yeah, my sweet peas are starting, the autumn ones, they looked pretty sickly, I have to say. I had a bit of a moment, I was like, oh gosh. But they have started to green up a bit more and become a bit chunkier again.
Mine look dreadful. My autumn sown, I don't have many autumn sown ones, but the ones that I do look so awful. All my spring ones look amazing, although I know they'll do that thing where I put them in the ground and they look like they die and they give me an absolute heart attack for about 10 days to 2 weeks, and then suddenly they grow on and they're fine. But there's always that awful moment.
Are you not in that phase then with the autumn sown? Because you put yours out. Did you put yours out a bit later than mine? Because I feel like maybe I've gone through that with the autumn ones. I thought I was going to lose the entire lot, and actually I do think I have lost a few actually.
None of mine are actually in the ground yet. They're just in root trainers outside. So the autumn ones are just looking battered. As soon as I put them in the ground, they will be absolutely fine. You just have to keep the faith sometimes, don't you? It's like I had some Love in a Puff seed in a pot, which I thought was never going to do anything because it's been there for 6 weeks or something. And I was just about to throw the pot away and there was a little sprout. And I thought, oh, there we go. Not sure what with it being a bit late, but...
Oh, that's so nice. Oh, that's so nice, isn't it? That's so nice. And so what have you been up to out and about? Have you been something exciting? Because I've not been doing very much. Banking on you.
In order to tell my out, we have to agree that we can now talk about the thing.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Can we talk about the thing?
I know what... thing? We can talk about the thing.
Thank you. So the thing is, Becca and I have got tickets to press day of Chelsea Flower Show. And this is a huge deal for both of us. So I have started thinking about what to wear. So I did a preliminary, I'm not committing to anything yet, but I did a preliminary trip to Shepton Mallet Toast just to have a look. Just not committing to anything, because actually they're still, Shepton Mallet is their outlet, so they're still quite on
winter stuff, aren't they?
Stuff, yeah, which is fine, because I'm probably more of I'm not going to go skimpy. Not that Toast is skimpy, but I am just starting to plan for that.
Yeah, I've been to Toast. So I used to go to that Shepton Mallet Toast a lot. We used to live not far from it. And so when we used to travel back to Bath, I used to always call in. And it used to be reliably fantastic. Really good deals. Really good stuff. I've been majorly disappointed with it in the part, recent years, and felt like the whole thing is slightly gone. I don't know. It's a bit weird. Yeah, and I think in fairness to Toast Outlet, it is based on what doesn't sell in the shop, the samples, and what's coming through, and it might be testament to the fact that the shops are doing very well. But I don't know. A few times I've gone, I've just thought I used to grab a really good bargain, but then I think their way that they're selling things now is much more probably sustainable, which is why things maybe aren't as cheap as they're just not reducing stuff like they used to.
When I did, I went on a trip to the Bradley Hare in Wiltshire with Toast as a hashtag PR gifted overnight stay. And
Lovely.
They were very much making a big thing about how they didn't want to be having surplus clothes that they needed to put on sale. They wanted clothes to be sold at full price and valued by the people that bought them.
I get that.
And yeah, really working on their sustainability in terms of that. So.
Yeah, I've seen, and for that, I have seen that change then at the Shepton Mallet store, definitely. That's interesting. That is what you've been doing. Obviously, because I live in the end of the world, one has to do all of that online in Cornwall.
One does.
And actually, I feel like I'm going to be screamed at by sort of people in Cornwall going, you could come to our shop, it's fine. Which I do love to shop independently and things like that. But it's just sometimes quite hard to do that. So I have been looking. My out is kind of out via the internet. Is that actually cheating? I feel like that is cheating.
We are gearing up to the biggest out that we can do for the season, so I think as long as it's related to our big out, I think that's fine.
So I've done a little bit like you. I am hedging my bets. In my head, I have bought about 17 dresses, but ordered one, and that has arrived now. And shall I tell you about it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know whether you'd be really interested. Of course you're interested. Yes.
The chances of us turning up in the same dress is minuscule, but just in case.
Oh, God, can you imagine? That would be hilarious. It could be our podcast uniform. So mine is a Cézanne dress.
Nice.
I am not... So I've talked to a few people about this, what to wear at Chelsea on press day. And as we went, obviously, last year, and it wasn't press day, it was an RHS day. And the pressure to wear a floral dress is huge, isn't it? And I didn't wear a floral dress last year, and I felt absolutely fine not wearing a floral dress. But I have had the slight pressure raised even further because it is press day. And I don't know what our viewers are like and how everybody feels about floral, but I am not a ditzy flower print person. I actually find pattern quite... And this comes from somebody that loves pattern, because obviously I did surface pattern at college and things like that. But I find it really hard to wear it. I'm great with interiors, not so great with fashion fabric.
If you ever see me in a print dress, I'm dead and somebody else has dressed me. It will not happen.
You're making me nervous now. You're making me nervous now because
I've got the same dress.
No, because I've bought a print dress. Because I bought a really print... Yeah, I have. But I do like it. It's an abstract print dress. Are you still there, or have you left
I'm going
me?
to go on the website as soon as we finish and
sold out
and work out which one it is. No, I'm not going to buy it.
But it's sold out. I don't think you'll even be able to see it. I'm nervous to even show you, just in case you hate it. And then I do like it.
I'm a friend. I'm not going to tell you that I hate it. I'm not.
Okay, so the criteria for me, though, was also shirt dress, because I don't like... The toast dresses I do love, but I quite often feel that they massively swamp me. So I wanted something that was a shirt dress. So tick, it's a shirt dress. The other thing is it's silk, so I'm hoping for some really friggin' amazing weather, quite frankly. And it is a print, but it is a print in all the colours that I like, which is the mustards, the oranges, the navies, that sort of thing. You will see me coming.
I won't lose you in the crowd. Not there's going to be a crowd, but I won't lose you anywhere.
I will be. Do you know what? To tone it down, I am going to be wearing my Toast workwear denim jacket over the top. And a pair of trainers.
Fair enough.
A pair of trainers. I do still have about 5, maybe 8 days left to change my mind. I do feel a little bit panic. It is out of my comfort zone.
We're a month away.
Yes, no, but Cézanne's 15-day return policy. 15 days, it's nothing.
It is nothing.
It's nothing.
Hilariously, I didn't actually buy anything from Toast, and I am sufficiently... Nervous isn't the word. I can't quite think of what the word is. Invested. That actually, rather than buying an outfit, I have booked an online consultation with a stylist.
Oh,
I know. It was somebody that I just literally, they came up on my Instagram. They did a reel about body shape. And this whole know, like and trust thing. You do not have to spend a lot of time with somebody online to get my money. Once I think, yes, you know your stuff, I'm there. It's gut instinct. I know. I can smell rubbish a mile away. But when someone really knows what they're talking about, I'm not. Yeah. You don't have to flirt with me. Her name is Melissa something. I'll have to put a link below. And she is booked up until next October. So I've gone for one of her other stylists. So it's called an online shopping board, I think. So you fill in a big questionnaire about all your needs. You have a 15-minute Zoom consultation, and they go off and they put together an outfit, like a Pinterest board, and you literally click on and you can buy it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I have to say I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So I thought I can panic in 2 directions. I can either panic and buy everything and just get completely overwhelmed, or I can panic and outsource this to someone else. So if you are a Gather member, I will be sharing this process on the members' Instagram, because I did record a video this morning explaining the process just after I booked this thing.
The one thing I will say as well is that what I find really difficult is I have actually I haven't got the longest of bodies, but I'm very long. This is getting very graphic. I'm sorry for anyone listening. But I'm very long from the shoulders to the bust. So a lot of these really lovely dresses where they do that sort of tuck it, they gather at the middle, never ever, or they're fitted at the bodice, whatever. they never fit me. They never fit me because I have this really long drop between the shoulders and the bust. And that's why really I started to go over to the toast dresses, which were quite loose. But what I found is they've become really oversized now, much more so than 8-9 years ago when I was buying toast dresses. And I feel like I've gone the other way. They've almost overly swamped me. So it was really interesting looking for a dress because obviously, I don't know about you, but I don't really wear dresses. Actually, my entire wardrobe is what trousers can wash and how can I stay dry gardening. So it's really not, I feel like I'm really out of touch with that sort of genre of clothing. So this was quite interesting. So I think somebody taking the time out, because it got quite boring. And then it's the whole, is it polyester? Is it linen? Has it been... Well, I do have a bit of an issue of the cost versus the ethical versus, brand aware as well as everything else. I have to say the Cezanne stuff came very beautifully packaged. It even had a spray scent put on the tissue paper. But I did I did get a size too big, and I did think, I need to send it back and change the size, because obviously ordering online is a nightmare as well in terms of sizing. But it sold out of every single size. So I'm now, I'm now keeping it because it's got this belt that gathers in. And as one of my sons said, we're not going to take the belt off anyway, so don't worry about it. Oh dear. Right. I'm getting nervous even thinking about it. I'm later after the podcast, I'm going to send you a picture of it and you'll have to tell me whether it's acceptable.
I'm sure it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Footwear. What about your footwear? Seeing as we've gone all fashion led.
We've gone in, haven't we?
We've possibly lost all listeners that come to us for gardening. Sorry.
Maybe. But you signed up to listen to all sorts of things about our life, and that's currently what we're worrying about. So, as well as peonies that snap off in the gale. Now, had you asked me this yesterday, I would have had a really clear answer about what shoes I was going to wear. However, the reel that caught my eye for this styling lady, Melissa, she was talking about the difference between a pointy-toe shoe and a round-toed shoe in terms of making you look taller. I'm quite tall anyway, but I do have some slightly strange proportions. So I'm here for a shoe that makes my legs look a little bit longer. So I think I'm going to take their view on my shoes, but I will specify that it does need to be very comfortable because I do not want to ruin my Chelsea experience by being blistered.
I will laugh if you turn up with pointy stilettos. Sorry.
I can't wear heels, so yeah, I will also laugh, and I will have to walk around like a drunken person at the end of the night with the stilettos in my hand.
I'm not carrying you. So I'm going to be in trainers, and I'm going to be running to the front of the queue, and you snooze, you lose, love.
But me barefoot with a set of stilettos in my hand, I could get to the front of any queue going.
This is true. This is absolutely true. We should spin this around to at least some gardening at the end of this podcast, really, which is let's just hope some of the last of these storms are pushing through. It's getting a bit cold. Did you notice that?
Yeah, no, it really is.
Yeah. Just a bit of advice. Don't rush to get things out. I went a little bit gung-ho on Sunday, planting a few things out. Did regret it on Monday when I suddenly realised, this does feel cold this week. So I've retracted a little bit. Cornflowers, ammi, those sorts of things are fine, aren't they? Maybe hang away from the half-hardy annuals and hold fire for a moment or two.
To be fair, I'm still sowing my half-hardies. I've just put some more cosmos in. Like my hardy annually, tough as boots, they can do anything. But yeah, some of those slightly more tender things, they're still in trays inside. So
yeah, I've been moving mine in and out the greenhouse. It is a massive stock rotation going on in my greenhouse at the moment. It has got to stupid season. So things are on shelves, balancing on sort of boot shelves, everything, just everywhere. So I am slightly going, you can go out for the day and you can come back in tonight. So there's a lot of that going on. But I always think that's actually not a bad thing to do. It is like the hardening off process, isn't it?
Yeah, let's reframe that as hardening off, and actually it's just sea tray shuffle.
It's the sea tray shuffle. So next week, when we do my next podcast, what I will have had is a lovely out. I've got an exciting out next week.
A trailer, or is it going to be a surprise for us all?
Yeah, I don't mind. It's going to be big news because I'm even going out of Cornwall. So that is, I consider that to be a really proper out for a Cornish girl. Yeah, I am going to be going to the pig at Coombe.
Which is practically my local.
Yeah, it is near you, isn't it? It's not far from you. Yeah. So I've never been before, and I am meeting a girlfriend for lunch, and I'm looking forward to going around and having a look at their kitchen garden and just seeing the space.
Could you possibly have a look and see if they've got any of their raised beds with steel edging? Because we're going to put some steel edging in, and we'd really like to see some before we attempt it as a DIY project. And I can't help thinking, I'm sure they've got some somewhere there. They've got massive big sleeper beds in the kitchen garden, but I think they've got maybe path edging. So if you've got any, could you just snap me a photo and just...
I will. Don't worry, I'll be taking lots of photos. I'm actually planning on taking my camera, I think, because I think it'll be just quite inspiring. Yeah, I'm going all out. I've got to make this one count. So I will speak to you next week, but for now, have a great rest of your week.
You too. Take care.
Happy gardening. Bye.
Happy gardening. Bye.